So what's happening with Payday 3? And if you don't remember, don't worry, I got you covered. When Payday 3 came out, it was, well, I'm trying to find some it was a shit show. It was complete garbage. It was a dumpster fire set ablaze by rocket fuel. Payday 3 was an absolutely every way inferior to Payday 2. It had bugs, it had less maps, it had less options, it had less gameplay, it was unpolished, it was everything bad with the game. And by the way, if you're wondering, well, is it still the case? Yes, of course it's still obviously the case. Payday 3 is a disaster. And, well, we knew that this was going to impact everything a lot because I think the developers behind Payday knew that this is going to happen because let's be real. For Payday 3, they literally took your favorite shill YouTubers, and most noticeably, by the way, was it Luke Steffens? But most noticeably, the Act Man. That's right. They took him, lathered him up, put him in a hotel, which magically probably had, I would assume, a bag of money on the table with a couple of women of the night that were prepaid, but who knows by who, right? And then all of these people who were taken to play Payday 3, they came back and they made videos. Payday 3 is the best thing I have ever played in my life. This is gonna be the future. Needless to say, they got paid off. See what I did there? See what I did there? Pretty smart for a low IQ individual. In any case, Payday 3 is a disaster. All the shilling got nothing done, except ruin the reputations of already known individuals who will do anything for money. And that pisses me off extensively because I'm openly saying here, I will sell my soul for a bag, okay? I'm sitting here saying, boys, I am for hire, okay? No one's gonna ever suspect that I'm shilling for anything. No one has ever accused me of shilling for anything, even, okay? I will redefine the word. I will do it so good they're gonna have to make a statue in my name, okay? But no one buys me. No one even tries. Sad.
Starbreeze needs money so badly that they've just added subscriptions to a 12-year-old game in the form of Payday 2. And the reason why is actually what you would expect. It's that Payday 3, their new game, is simply not bringing in the money that they need. And that's on a pretty major scale. Just take a look at these player counts. Under 1,000 for Payday 3 versus 30,000 for Payday 2, the 12-year-old.
Yeah, you need to understand. They can't make DLC for Payday 2. Well, technically they can, but they're supposed to make it for 3. But and who's gonna buy it on 3? They need to get all the Payday 2 players to Payday 3. Or milk them.
Game. But here's what's wild. After launching a big discount bundle at 50% off, they then tried to quietly cut it down by 17% to 33% off. They got caught, they had to reverse that, and whenever that price hike was happening at the same time as a new subscription was being added, it really wasn't quite a good look. And even Starbreeze's head of commercial admits this. He said, "They're not wrong. It's terrible timing." But as if this wasn't already a peak game industry story, well, Starbreeze actually just killed an entire other project. They laid off a whole bunch of people, and they're putting more resources into Payday. So with that in mind,
now, admittedly, that's probably the smartest decision that they can do because let's be real. If you made Payday 3, no one is excited for whatever else you're making.
Let's see what the hell's going on here. You may remember a fun thing from November of last year. You see, that was when the Payday Twitter account literally told people, and I quote, "Dude, we need the money." And you know what? That's actually refreshing. It's honest. It's definitely true. You see, here's the problem that was going on. Their sequel had disappointed fans of Payday 2. Basically, the systems weren't there. The content was not enough. And sure, Starbreeze had rebuilt much of the game, they'd added more heists, but Payday 3 never really took off. And why would anyone switch? Payday 2 was cheaper. It had far more content, and it had modding tools. There was just no incentive to move over. Now look at this. Starbreeze just released a well-regarded heist for Payday 3. They're revamping the entire skill system. They're
mostly positive literally means nothing when it's 154 people in a game that's unanimously acclaimed as shitty. Because these people who are buying this and playing this are the mega fans. You cannot trust reviews like this. Okay? This is why Shattered Space has an actual positive review score on SteamDB, while Starfield itself doesn't.
The entire skill system, they're bundling the DLC so it's less intimidating. All of these good things that so far are not converting the Payday 2 audience over, which is obviously why they will want to get more money from Payday 2's audience. And we actually know how big of a problem this is. In November, Payday 3 was earning double what Payday 2 was earning. Now you may think, hang on a second, Payday 3 had under 1,000 concurrents, Payday 2 is always over 30,000. It's just that those Payday people bought their DLC a long ass time ago, unlike the Payday 3 people who, are playing and buying a pretty new game. But just think about that. A 1-year-old game versus a 12-year-old game. And according to the latest reports, that earnings ratio has not changed through 2025. So because of that, Starbreeze made their decision to monetize Payday 2 further. And the way that's rolled out made a lot of people very mad. So here's what they're offering. It's a subscription service that gives access to almost all Payday 2 DLC. The cost? $5.
Why would that matter? Most people playing that game already have everything.
$5 a month, or $20 for 6 months. Now the context really matters here. You see, the last DLC for Payday 2 came out June 2023, but DLC for that game started releasing in 2013. So basically, you got a decade of DLC. And over time, just like with Paradox games or The Sims, the price to get all of the content ballooned. Because even if you don't need all the cosmetics and you cut all that stuff out, even on sale, you're looking at $200 plus of content, which is fairly hard to stomach.
Yeah, this is some Warhammer shit right there, boys.
So in theory, this subscription
Total war on, Monster Hunter game stuff.
Fixes that problem.
Yeah, this is just the materialization of the Capcom mentality.
If you have an itch to play Payday 2 once or twice a year and you want to bring along your friends, rather than asking people to buy lots of DLC or only some of the DLC or all of the DLC, no, you can just chuck in $5 and you can access the complete product. Makes sense for those sorts of players. But take a look at the Steam reviews. They're really not happy. Over 200 negative reviews in the 48 hours.
Absolutely based. Good job, boys. This is how you do it as consumers, okay? This is how you do it. And these people right here, trash.
After the announcement, you might be wondering why there's backlash, and some of it is people hating the idea of subscriptions for a 12-year-old game that doesn't have new content to justify the subscription. Others, though, are kind of mad that this could be taking resources away from Payday 3. They could be thinking, right, so Payday 3 isn't really doing what you need, and now you're trying to over-monetize Payday 2 again. We're on to you. Now, Starbreeze responded to this to PC Gamer, and their head of commercial, Gustav Nasir, said rather explicitly, this has no direct impact on ongoing work on Payday 3. And I actually do think his statement makes sense.
I mean, this is true. This is just... I mean, it's obviously true.
Adding a subscription doesn't change either game's content, it's literally just a new payment option in Steam. Now, I'm sure it probably took a bit of work to implement, but I doubt that's the same people who are making heists for Payday 3. But why release this for Payday 2? Well, the revenue is stable at 50% of Payday 3's revenue. And for 4 years, the concurrency has been shockingly consistent for Payday 2. It's really stunning. It's over 30,000 people compared to the under 1,000 of Payday 3. But here's what a lot of reviews have pointed out. There is another factor. Something that looks very, very goddamn sus. And it's something that happened on September 5th, but until now went completely unnoticed. This is the infamous bundle, and this bundle collects almost all of Payday 2's DLC into one purchase. Now on September 5th, its discount dropped from 50% to 33%. Now the actual DLC prices stayed the same, but the cheapest way to buy everything was this bundle, and the bundle went up by 17%. In isolation, people didn't really notice. It's not like there's a fan
Yeah, no, I'm surprised anyone noticed that.
Base for just keeping up to date with that discount. But then something happened that would give people cause to take a look at that discount again. Because
I mean, people People have been doing wilder things.
Suddenly, the subscription looked like an even better deal. So players connected the dots, and the obvious narrative took hold that Starbreeze inflated the bundle price to drive people towards the subscriptions. Now, PC Gamer
By the way, how predatory and technically stupid a subscription model like that is, where you just get all the DLCs for paying a subscription cost. Well, if your typical DLC costed what, like $2, $3, something like that, that means, well, if you're paying $5 a month, in a year you have spent $60, right? That's 20 things. And if you're planning to play the game for a longer than that, you can probably buy everything that you want except the cosmetic bullshit already on discounts, because a lot of that stuff I'm assuming is getting like a 50%, 80% discount. So that some of that stuff we already saw was only like worth €1. Look at this. Yeah. This is insane. Okay? This is absolutely a 100% pretty much giant money grab for a subscription like this. It's just implying that people it's just a giant money grab. That's it. Everyone knows it's not worth it when half the DLCs are less than $2 to spend $60 a year for it.
base for just keeping up to date with that discount. But then something happened that would give took hold. Looked like an even better deal. So players connected the dots, and the obvious narrative took hold that Starbreeze inflated the bundle price to drive people towards the subscriptions. Now, PC Gamer interviewed Gustav whenever the subscription launched, and he called the price increase, quote, unfortunate timing, and said Starbreeze, quote, dropped the ball on communications. Yeah, fair enough. But
alas, dude, this is the most classic and stupid excuse for this type of behavior ever. Oh, the communications just broke down between developers and players. A tragedy. Dude, oh my god. You know what I hate? I hate when these people try to treat us like we're idiots. Like we don't know better. Like we will not figure out this absolute garbage of an approach.
After the article was published, and after everyone got mad, the devs responded. They went onto Twitter and Reddit, they called the price increase an error, they then reversed the discount change, which is good, and then our old friend Gustav came back to PC Gamer.
Bro, someone needs to accidentally open up the discount thing, change it, press save, okay? That's not an error, that's actively, that's an attempt.
And he talked about the community reaction. He said they needed to apologize, first for not warning the community, and second for not realizing the subscription would launch soon after the discount change. Now, he does maintain it was an honest mistake, that these things were not connected. But obviously, the price increase was intended. It was not a mistake. The mistake was how they handled it. Now, here is what's actually going on, according to them. They were doing a general pricing review, and when they did that, they found something problematic. That the 50% discount on the infamous bundle was cumulative. Now, what does that mean? It means that during sales, this bundle got 50% off plus whatever individual DLC discounts applied. So they basically just took a simple solution and lowered the discount. Obviously, and regardless of justification, it went terribly wrong from a public relations standpoint. But from the
Good, that's the way it should be, okay? Live with your mistakes. I am not accepting paying more for some kind of garbage because you were too stupid to do it properly.
Outside, we can see why this company would do this. They're preparing year 3 of Payday 3, reworked from the ground up, so they basically need every dollar they can get for that development. Because, here's the truth, Starbreeze has been losing money for 2 years. Payday revenue is the only thing keeping them afloat. And that is why they're killing their D&D project, firing staff, and refocusing toward Payday more than ever. No story about game development on the European continent is complete without a mention of our good old friends at the Embracer Group. You see, in May 2025, an important thing happened. And that thing was that Starbreeze regained full franchise rights.
Fuck the Embracer Group. Also, boys, like and hype the video up on if you're on a mobile device. I appreciate that greatly. It helps me out a lot. And thank you for all of you who do it. It's a small thing, takes less than a second, but it's absolutely massive for me. So thank everyone. And if you think that this stuff that we talk about here is important, well then, that's just more reason to right now like the video and hype it up on a mobile device, because if you want more people to know about this, well, liking the video is gonna, I can guarantee you get more people seeing this. So thank you to everyone.
For Payday from Embracer, specifically from Plyon, which is one of Embracer's sublabels. A really badly named one at that. But the point is, Starbreeze had not fully owned their own game until that point. Since then, the framing changed. Payday is now the core of the company, and that's why Starbreeze just announced the Project Baxter, which was the D&D co-op project supposed to be releasing in 2026, is now cancelled. $27.2 million is being written off, and around 44 staff are being laid off pending union negotiations. So that basically means everything at Starbreeze is about Payday now. And that's why not everyone is being laid off. In fact, some of them are being redeployed to bring that team up to 50 devs by the end of the year. And the new CEO explained, to quote him, "We are doubling down on what our players love and what we do best, owning the heisting genre. Payday is our platform for growth." And while the cancellation might be a surprise, I think anyone who's been paying attention to this company kinda saw this shift coming, because they have been talking about it since August, and not just talking about it idly. They've been framing the future of Payday as 4 different strands of development, basically 4 different development threads. So, the first of these threads is Payday Core. That's Payday 3 and any future work. Then there's Payday Legendary, which is Payday 1 and 2. Then there's Payday Lore and Licensing, which is merch, comics, and transmedia. And then fourth, and most interestingly, Payday Partnerships. And said partnerships have
Payday has comics? Like, who gives a shit?
Already started. And this is where your mind's just going to explode, right? This is Notoriety. It's an unlicensed Payday clone in Roblox. But what happened is that Starbreeze gave it official licensing. And the reason why is that it has over 227 million players. Yes, that number...
Yep, you would expect that from Roblox.
...is real. And I think we can all see the value for Starbreeze in doing a licensing...
Now, admittedly, since it's Roblox, 72% of those accounts are just, you know, PDF files, trying to find someone on this game. But, you know, still, that's a lot of people.
...deal with that, I guess, Payday knockoff that's got over 227 million players. But that's not all. There was also a PUBG licensing deal done with Krafton, where they're now implementing Payday content into...
Also, I think Baldur is making a mistake here, because 200 million is the active users on Roblox, I'm pretty sure. Not for that game.
PUBG. And if you want to understand how important this licensing side is, all you need to do is check out their Q2 report. Here's a quote. "During the quarter, it was our single largest revenue contributor." So, yeah, you know, there's Payday 1, Payday 2, Payday 3. You can buy those. Or there's licensing deals, which have ended up being their largest revenue contributor. Pretty impressive, right? That's kind of crazy, and I guess that's why licensing deals really are just the talk of the town within the games industry these days. Now, these projects, these sort of 4 pillars of Payday, of Starbreeze, they've got their own separate teams, their own separate cash flows, but they do make money. And each thread can theoretically support itself, and in doing so, support all of Starbreeze's continued existence. And that's why they were looking back at Payday 2's consistent audience and trying to find a new way to monetize that audience. That's why they're limiting unintended discounts and doing things like the subscription, because they actually do need money. And to speak to another thing I've noticed, right?
They actually need money. What a hot take, eh? In any case, it's not looking good for Payday 3. I mean, at some point, it's probably going to be worth it, to be completely honest. Especially if they're shifting resources to it more. Because the biggest problem that people had with Payday 3 was the fact that it just does not have content nearly big enough to rival Payday 2. So that was kind of the biggest issue, in a very general sense. I'm sure if you're a Payday 3 player, you can actually... You know what? If there's any Payday 3 players who actively play the game a lot, doesn't matter which version, it would be really nice if you just commented down below all of the grievances the typical Payday community had with 3, so we know better, right? In any case, that was Baldur News 10 out of 10. Bye!